How much better, Herc, were Brazil today than what we saw in the opener?
Night and day. Night and day. Not just because they finished off the opportunities, but the excitement. This was a different Brazil. You're absolutely right. This is the Vini Jr. that everybody wants to see. The Vini Jr. that Real Madrid gets to see every week, week in and week out. Can he be that player with Brazil? He had 3 goals coming into this game. His last goal was over a year. You saw the best of Vini today. And even when you thought he was going to be off his, how can I say it? Mentally not sharp.
Okay.
Okay? Because you know how players can get under Vini's skin. He didn't let it get under his skin. He used it as fuel, and he picks up 2 goals.
Fala, apaixonados por futebol, bem-vindos ao canal. Finalmente o Brasil desencantou na Copa América, goleou o Paraguai por 4-1 e encaminhou a classificação para a próxima fase. Vamos ver a repercussão da vitória da seleção na imprensa inglesa. Já se inscrevam aí no canal e bora!
How much better, Herc, were Brazil today than what we saw in the opener?
Night and day. Night and day. Not just because they finished off the opportunities, but the excitement. This was a different Brazil. Certainly, Paraguay have their deficiencies, but this Paraguayan team was a team that defended well. In World Cup qualifying, they've only given up 3 goals in 6 games. You can say what you want about them attacking. They've only scored 1 goal. They're very dependent on a Julio Enciso or Miguel Almiron. But when it comes to defending, this is a very difficult team to break down. And Brazil broke them down any and which way they wanted to. And especially from outside, whether it was Savio or it was Vini Jr., and you're absolutely right. This is the Vini Jr. that everybody wants to see. The Vini Jr. that Real Madrid gets to see every week, week in and week out. Can he be that player with Brazil? He had 3 goals coming into this game. His last goal was over a year. You saw the best of Vini today. And even when you thought he was going to be off his, how can I say it? Mentally not sharp.
Okay.
Okay? Because you know how players can get under Vini's skin. He didn't let it get under his skin. He used it as fuel, and he picks up 2 goals. Albeit circumstantial goals, but you create those opportunities, and he did. This was a very different team than they faced Costa Rica, which is very dependent on, you know, just half chances and just being, I guess, good in between the boxes, but very dull when it mattered. This was night and day performance.
The first goal, Casey, doesn't fall till the 35th minute. Up until then, and including the missed penalty, it kind of felt like Brazil might be headed for another 0-0 like that against Costa Rica. And then once that goal falls for Vini, just totally different.
Yeah, you could tell they needed something to kind of spark this tournament, get rid of the controversies from the game against the United States, and then to be able to see if can they kick on a little bit. And when they got the goal, it almost was like, you know, the pressure that Gustavo was talking about just kind of disappeared. And then they were able to play with a little more freedom, continue to put Paraguay under more pressure. And in doing that, then they created more of the opportunities, which they took advantage of. I'm still a little nervous about this Brazilian side, that at times I still feel like a ball will go out wide and somebody will get in possession and everyone will stand around and watch as that person tries to dribble and do tricks and do something. But when they're combining, when they're moving together, doing little 1-2s at the top of the box and finding spots, then it looks like the Brazil we want to see. And I think if they can find that cohesiveness and learn to work more together as opposed to I'm going to show you how individually skilled I am, when they can get rid of that and get into more of the team play, which we saw at times today, I think then they might really start to put some fear in some teams.
Interesting you mentioned Paquetá and Guimarães. We've been saying, if there's one thing that doesn't feel like the old Brazil, which you might say today they did look like the old Brazil, it was the midfield. And interesting that he points out those 2 guys as guys who played well tonight.
Yeah, they played well tonight, but the true test will be when they face Colombia. Paraguay in this tournament, they're coming off a loss versus Colombia, where they presented some difficulties to Colombia, but also got ran off the field at times versus Colombia. Now you're going to see if they can maintain the same type of intensity, the same type of style and play, collective unit in that offensive third. I saw at times this Brazilian team where they wanted to connect, where you were seeing whether it was Vini or Savio try to connect to the middle with Paquetá and get that ball back and look to combine in that final third, and it would just look a bit off. It looked like what Gustavo was saying. They still need time under Dorival Jr. to get there, but certainly they will need to be better against a very good very good Colombia team. So they did well today. Granted, very limited in the midfield Paraguay team.
But a step forward.
Yeah, it's enough. Yeah. But we're going to see the real test when it comes to Colombia.
Correct.
When you look at this Brazil side, Herc, what's your potential weakness? What's your worry point?
Well, the experience. The talent pool. We spoke about the Brazilian teams of the past, just the amount of players playing at a high level who are very free-flowing, very much in the DNA of what is Brazilian football. I look at this team, and there's a few players here that scream Brazilian football DNA. Your Vini Juniors, your Endrick, Rodrigo, your Savio, Rafinha. But then you look at the rest of the roster from the midfield on, it gets robotic to the outside backs, and you think you went from a Roberto Carlos to Marcelo to Dani Alves and Cafu to now a Wendell or Danilo. Certainly that pipeline has dried up. That's my worry is when you look at some of the other teams in this tournament, or Colombia, who's riding high on 25-game unbeaten streak, to Argentina, who are defending world champions and have, oh, by the way, Messi on that roster, or even an Uruguay right now, this high-flying one, Marcelo Bielsa. My worry for this team is they don't have the pool of players to compete with some of these teams that I just mentioned.
Yeah,